Today! That wasn't us. I don't know who those people were. This is ChillPoint.
I watched you do it, but I was like, he's not gonna push the booth screen.
Somebody briefly took over the channel. I don't know who would have done that.
Maybe one of your clones?
Yeah.
Speedy, the super fast one?
Yeah. It's totally fine. Totally fine. Nobody noticed.
Nope.
Hey everybody. How's it going? Boop. Are the levels blowing out at all? I'm here. Or maybe just my headphones are turned up too high.
I mean, it's a little loud.
All right, maybe. Heather had to tweak the levels this morning because I had messed them up, and yeah, I see it is actually clipping out a little bit. Let's actually pull that down a little bit. I was like, I don't know. I think it's like around this level.
I mean, I talk quieter, so it was probably fine-ish.
Let's get that up to a good level.
I think that seems alright.
So it's not so clippy. But then I can turn it up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be the way. That way it's
Wanna,
loud but not clippy.
You need it to be able to get loud enough for the quieter talkers.
Yeah.
Who have the mystical ability of making the microphone miss all the sound.
All right. Hopefully that's better. Yeah, that sounds better to me. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to CheckPoint. ChillPoint. That's the name of this show, ChillPoint.
That's what we call it.
Although CheckPoint is down in the corner.
It's technically called CheckPoint Plus. On the thing.
Yeah, we go back and forth on the name a little bit because there's like a couple of different things that could be called CheckPoint Plus, but anyway, this right now is ChillPoint. How's it going?
What's ChillPoint, Paul?
ChillPoint is a show where we talk about all the video game news that happened in the last week that we thought was interesting, and we also talk about yesterday's CheckPoint, which went up
yesterday.
It went up yesterday afternoon, and had some silly things in it. There was I feel like there's a particularly long after show on this. I don't know how much of it you kept in.
I only kept in the Mario talking part.
Oh, okay.
And I added in an outtake of Graham going at the end. I even moved it in on him so you could only see him. It's great.
Sounds like something Graham would do.
You know, as a reward for everybody who made it through the talk about Mario's nipples.
Yeah.
From Beach. You all got a reward. And now you all know that you can just skip to the end of the video if you need to.
So yeah, let's talk about the stuff that was in the episode of CheckPoint. Starting with the this deal from Paradox Interactive about licensing the World of Darkness for fan games, which is, I mean, it's an interesting idea.
I just don't actually see the benefit as a person. I mean, I suppose if you're making a fan game, sure. I just don't really see the benefit to it. Like, their website was like, oh, here's the perks, but the perks are kind of like, you can use our IP with restrictions. And there's a bunch of restrictions. You have to keep 67% of your profits. And I'm like, that's the positive way of saying that you're taking 33% of a cut. It's which sure, I suppose.
It kind of strikes me as one of those maybe a thing where it was like an idea that everyone liked, and then it got kind of filtered through the lawyers and management and stuff, and they're like, well,
I mean,
I mean, we
maybe
like fan stuff, but we don't want to like, you know, don't want them to like have our IP and like use stuff. We still need to have control of it. So,
well, yeah, I mean, like a lot of the stuff where they're saying don't use World of Darkness or Vampire the Masquerade, which might only be in the title, that might not be in other places, but I can't quite remember. Is to try to stop brand confusion.
right. So you can't call it
like
blah de blah Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah,
which,
and a lot of the rules like make sense, and I don't think it's necessarily the worst thing in the world. I just don't understand. Like you get stuck on itch.io.
mm-hmm.
So if your game like ends up being really good, and I mean maybe that's like a very small percentage of the games that get made, but now,
and it's also like for the thing you can give your game away for free,
yes,
or you can charge $5 or more for it.
that's right. You also have to choose a specific price point.
You can't. So
you do get to keep all the things that you originally make yourself for the game.
they are yes, anything you make yourself, but you also do give Paradox Interactive license to use those things themselves, which is so
Yeah, I
for
just
promotional
think there's
purposes and stuff.
like again, not the worst thing in the world, but not terribly like.
It's nice to
It's
have.
not super positive, I think, on the side of like the person who's making the game.
Yeah, like it's nice to have it there, but I think if somebody was like not already super locked into the vampire IP, the Vampire the Masquerade IP, I don't know if this would like be like, oh man, now I can use that IP. I'm super excited about it. Like, I don't know if this would be the thing that tips you over the edge.
Well, and by IP, I'm pretty sure it just means you can use terms within their IP. Like you can't. It's not like it's giving you permission to use any artwork that
Right.
other people have made within other games or anything like that.
The idea that you can't depict any hazardous materials
I'm not sure what that
isn't like.
like.
Aren't vampires just like themselves hazardous materials?
I mean,
Like vampires, like the world of the world of darkness. Spoiler, is a little dark.
yeah.
It's a lot of bad stuff happens to people in the world of darkness.
I know the beginning because I think it also has to be version 5, so it's got to be the most current material too.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure the beginning of that book basically states that, hey, this game can get really dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, does hazardous materials mean no smoking? That seems weird. As a vampire, it doesn't really. It's not like the smoking's really gonna do anything to your lungs.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they just want to. I mean, that's, to be honest, that's probably one of those like blanket things where they're just kind of covering their butts if something does come out. There have been a couple of high-profile issues with stuff that has actually been like published in the vampire mythology that has not gone over well. So I can imagine that they might want to kind of have a butt covering thing in there,
Yeah,
being like,
don't-
if we don't like it, we can
I
actually
just don't know what it means.
put the kibosh to it.
But
So anyway, it's cool though that the idea of
right, your game also has to go through a review process by
right.
them as well. It's not like because you and like
Which-
we looked at Beach and I looked at the Google form that you fill out.
Oh yeah.
And there's a thing in it that says you have to link the like at least a demo build or like a thing to show that you are working on the thing to do it. So it kind of feels like a make the game first, put it on itch.io, with a demo or something and then make sure they can review it so it goes into the Unbound program, which seems a little
I feel
backwards from asking for permission for things.
presumably that's more like reviewing how you're using the IP, not like the quality of your game.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't assume that they would care too much to test the quality.
It's also like, considering there's what, like 3 or 4 actual like commercial games coming out with the Vampire the Masquerade IP the next little while, like there's like a ton of vampire games either in development or coming.
There's a lot of visual novels made by, I think, the same company.
By Paradox?
No, by like a specific game developer company.
Oh, I see. But like they've licensed, like there's an MMO, like an online game, like like Vampire Bloodlines sort of ish sequel game coming out. I know at least those two, and I think there's another one that's coming out as well.
I know there's a bunch of visual novels because I keep seeing things for them that sound really interesting that I keep intending to play, but my backlog is really long already.
But the idea that, like, at least at a certain base level, as Maricat is saying, that, like, you know, lots of people as passion projects make big mods for games or make, you know, their own games and stuff. And so the idea that you're relatively safe from those being just kind of destroyed from orbit by the parent company is something anyway. Obviously, creating something you're actually making money off of is no bueno, but
I assume
or
the
at least
majority of these games are going to go up as free.
Yeah, most of them I think, yeah.
At least to start, it seems like the simplest thing to do, because I imagine. I don't know how I imagine the whole point of keeping it on one place is so it's easier to track certain things. Maybe there's maybe there's a way to make itch.io like split stuff so that you're not like having to take the money in and then paying it off. But
was there a version of the script that ended with play on watch and play instead of play on let's know? I could see that. Depends on the quality. I mean, I don't think that was, but I feel like, depending, there have been definitely a lot of horror games on Watch and Play, as well as on Let's Nope. Like, Let's Nope usually has actually, you know, sometimes they're not successful as horror games, but they're usually like functional games.
That's okay. Sometimes when we play rhythm games on Rhythm Cafe, they're not successful as rhythm games either.
Yeah, as everyone says, you know, if it's on itch.io, it's not, people like know that it's not an official vampire, like they can, you know, if people start putting their fan games on Steam and stuff, then it could get even more sort of confusion with the real games or the like officially licensed games. So anyway, it's a thing.
It exists, just like this one does.
Yeah, speaking of
Oh my goodness.
versions of games that, or versions of IPs that people may or may not like, Diablo Immortal, which, to be honest, like I remember the consternation about the announcement of this. Everyone was like super excited about them. Like there was rumors that they were going to be announcing Diablo 4, and then they announced this, and people were like, "Oh, that was that did not go over well."
They waited until the Q&A time because they were like, "Well, maybe they'll tell us." It's funny. I've never actually seen the video of the "Don't you all have cell phones?" Even though I heard the thing over and over because that was the big news that came out, and seeing it, I was just like, "Oh, I see what happened." You weren't prepped for this question for some reason, and you said the first thing that came to your mind. That was a bad idea. A
couple people mentioned actually in the comments to this video that Wyatt Chung, the guy who was on stage there, is actually got quite well respected within the community like he's considered one of the sort of is sort of a very, very well respected developer within Blizzard, and has done a lot of great work on Diablo and stuff. So saying he kind of got screwed over by having to announce something that they probably knew was not going to be popular.
But like the question of, okay, you're making a mobile game. Do you have plans to make it to PC? The answer to that is no, right? And
Yeah.
and then they clearly weren't expecting the crowd response of booing,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is and so to like get glib back to the crowd and be like, well, you all got phones though, right? Like you can kind of hear it. It feels like a off the cuff remark that
And
it's just like you should be prepared that people are not going to be happy.
although this is one of those things where like I feel like the real answer is like, trust us, you don't want this on your PC.
I'm not sure you can
Like,
say stuff like that.
I know, but it's like, but it because you know they have announced Diablo 4 now. I'm pretty sure.
I couldn't tell you.
And like an actual like proper Diablo game, and like even if they make, and they've talked like that they're, you know, if they make the UI better for the PC release, like so it's not like a clearly mobile UI where everything's ginormous. Even then, it's still like it's not going to be.
No, this is gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be a port of the mobile game. It'll have all the same microtransactions. It'll probably do whatever. And I mean, maybe it's fun to play, but if it was designed for mobile,
Yeah. The screenshot I actually did in the story. There's a screenshot of the beta of the mobile app with the different packages for immortal orbs. So yeah, that's definitely.
I haven't played many games that are clearly designed for mobile that are the kind of game you want to end up playing on a PC or another console.
No,
Like
no.
a lot of them are very, very
It
much
does
designed
not.
for I'm going to open up the game and play for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's a very small number of games that can make that transition either way, frankly.
Yeah, and I just think they're going to want it to have some sort of parity, so I don't really feel like it's going to
Yeah.
be amazing.
To be honest, I was kind of surprised by this announcement because I thought Diablo Immortal already had come out and just nobody cared. I didn't realize that it wasn't actually, like, it's been 4 years since this announcement. I didn't realize that it hadn't actually come out yet. But, yeah, as some folks in the chat mentioned, Activision Blizzard has been having some staffing issues for some reason.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
What could possibly be happening over there that they would have staffing issues?
But yeah, I think they definitely, the BlizzCon thing where they, you know, there was they did where they sort of didn't have anything to announce. Like I remember that BlizzCon, everyone being like bummed because there was like they thought that they were going to announce like a couple different things and like nothing came out of it.
Yeah.
And that, like that this mobile thing was like the big announcement, and people were like, really?
Yeah, didn't they cancel BlizzCon the year after too? Because it was like, oh, we don't have any announcements to make, so we're just not going to do a convention because we'd rather like make announcements when we have stuff ready. Didn't they try and pull one of those? Like, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember.
If the convention's whole point is to make a big announcement and you don't have a thing, then really don't spend the money to put all that PR into it. I agree with that. But
Yeah. Alrighty, let's move on to Sonic the Hedgehog's 30th anniversary, which I feel like.
we're going to be talking about
most-
Sonic's 30th anniversary for a while. aren't
Yeah, I
we?
feel like most weeks we've got something about his 30th anniversary. Because they. I think we mentioned this. Yeah, last week we talked about Sonic Origins.
Right, because of
being
the
kind of disappointing.
the
Or not
different-
disappointing,
the different
but
versions. That
all
came
the
out.
different packages that have confused people. And this story was about so in the lead up to Sonic Origins coming out, which is Sonic Origins being the sort of re-release of a bunch of the early Sonic games. Those self-same Sonic games, which are available on various platforms now in various forms and ports and things. Sega is taking them down.
Yeah, they're delisting the single, like, buy these all separately.
Yeah.
Types of things, because there's still there's like another collection that has them in it that they're not delisting.
Yeah, apparently the ones on Switch are going to stick around, but other stuff is going to go away. So hopefully this isn't. There's been a couple of instances of where companies have done this, and the new one that comes out is like worse than the previous version.
Oh no.
I remember the re-release of like GTA 3 that happened just like last year. They did a remaster of GTA 3, and it did not go well. And then they stopped selling the old original version. Oh yeah, Warcraft 3. There's the same thing where like it didn't work with the old servers and stuff.
Okay, so if they're gonna make this version worse, it's gonna be the only thing they have to do is make the drowning music that happens. That when it starts playing, it just tilts to full volume only for that music, terrifying everybody forever, who may not have been terrified yet. It'll be should be.
It'll be like, yeah. I feel like the kinds of thing. It'll be like, like the frame rate is bad or something.
I
like
mean,
it starts
maybe.
like frames, but for like a Sonic game, it's like frame skipping and makes it really hard to play.
That's how you go faster. If you don't have all the frames, you can skip to the last frame and win the game.
And then there's also this story about the Disney Dreamlight Valley, which is an upcoming
free to play, I think.
Yeah. Adventure life sim. We don't have that much info about what the gameplay will be like, other than there'll be like little tasks to do and there'll be lots of customizing and stuff. It seems to be like maybe some Animal Crossing mixed with Stardew Valley or something.
I'm gonna assume character creator, at least something simplified.
You definitely have a character creator, yeah.
Lots of outfits.
Yeah, really big on outfits. And as Graham was talking about, even talking about the like Disney Bounder type fashion. So the sort of character, but not actually dressed as the character fashion.
So I'm going to assume maybe like a style savvy mixed with Sims Light.
Yeah. And then so the idea, and then so you go around to the different Disney characters, and they're different, like, you go to Goofy and you do the fishing.
Yeah. I mean, the mini games might be really fun.
Yeah, I mean, if they're good.
If they're well implemented.
Or Wally has a like a gardening thing. Remy from Ratatouille has like a cooking thing.
This isn't no, they said this was coming out to major consoles and PC and Mac. Okay.
And mobile as well,
right.
Though. And Switch. And
right.
everything.
So possibly also a Pocket Camp kind of situation I could see, where stuff's kind of like in set places. Maybe.
Could be, yeah.
That would be possibly simpler. I don't know. I feel like it could be fun. It could also be incredibly overly aggressive in a bunch of microtransactions and therefore really rough.
What I found interesting about it is apparently the premise is that there's this thing called the forgetting that
right.
has happened to the world, so everyone is like doesn't know who they are or what they are or whatever. And so my thought was that like You go around getting everybody to remember, but Goofy is there, right? So imagine you like go and get him to remember, and he's like, "Oh, I remember. Where's Sora?" Like it
So-
actually ties into
So,
Kingdom
so
Hearts.
this is what I want. Because when I was watching the thing, I was like, "Man, this feels like a really weird Kingdom Hearts light ripoff." But so between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, they put out other Kingdom Hearts games, and it was like a bunch of people ignored those because they were on other platforms and a bunch of things, and they were like, okay, well, I'll just play the mainline game, not, and then finding out that no, you need to play all those games because relevant for lore or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, cool. Well, everyone knows that though. That Kingdom Hearts, any game with a Kingdom Hearts title in it that you might need to pay attention to find out lore. But if they pull off some sort of thing where they make a bunch of Disney and Square Enix games where there's hidden Kingdom Hearts lore inside them that you're gonna need for Kingdom Hearts 4, I think that would be funny.
You have to like work your way through. You have to play this like totally unrelated game.
I like to think of it as like a Frog Fractions 2 situation.
Nice. Yeah, and then of course, there's a new 18 plus Mario set coming out because 18 plus has a very specific meaning in the world of Lego.
Hard?
Yes,
Okay,
it's
good.
for adults, as in it's difficult, not as in it's like adult oriented.
I mean, I haven't worked on the NES one that I have in a while because reasons, but the pictures are very much like spot the difference because you're gonna need
Right,
to-
right.
they're not like you're gonna put these pieces here. But I mean that's exciting though because what they did the Nintendo and the TV, and then they did like that really neat question mark block that had like a secret thing pop out
Right,
of it
yeah.
and stuff. So I think I've heard people suggest maybe a Super Nintendo now, but it could be anything. I saw somebody in the chat, or not in the chat, in the comments suggest for 18 plus they should do Bowsette, which I think would be really hilarious. But I
Interesting.
don't think that's coming. Seems unlikely given that I don't think Nintendo wants to acknowledge Bowsette's existence.
I'm sorry. I need to go to the washroom.
All right.
I'll be back in just a sec.
Hey, chat. It's just you and me now. What do you want to talk about? Paul's not here, so we can ignore the news. Secret podcast. Secret podcasts don't happen in the middle of the show. I'd have to go to commercial for that. Are there footprints on the chairs from the Note Boys? I know they've been standing on the chairs sometimes. But I do not see any footprints. I don't know why that happened. Teach you about fire. Okay, fire is a flammable substance that is made of fire, is very hot, and only I should use it unchecked. If you're gonna use fire, please have adult supervision. Unless you're me, which is just me, then I can do fire with whatever I want. That's a very important thing. Check your fire every day. Make sure it's still in the sky, in the big orb form. And if it's not, try again later. It might just be napping. And if it's been napping for too long, maybe try taking a nap yourself. If the fire in the sky can take a nap, the rest of us can all take naps. I think that's only fair. Go get yourself a little nap Kirby hat and just get cozy. Your Sky Orb is getting too spicy. That's fair. It's the springtime, which is when fires get restless. They go hopping around. It's actually summer. Summer's when we have all the fires in BC. And that is... So summertime's coming. Maybe we just won't have summer fires this year. That would be nice. Yes, and as Beowulf has said here, if your fire is no longer a distant ball, you should maybe consult your physician about the fire times. Ooh. Has the Playdate Group 1 orders have started shipping? I think I'm in Group 2. I'm excited for the Playdate. You know, cranking it. There's so much stuff that's not coming out till 2023. Like the Mario movie. That we've not seen, but we know a bunch of people are in it. And Miyamoto made a tweet about that. Supposedly. They said they were Miyamoto. But were they really? I didn't see any photographic proof with a newspaper being held up to show that Miyamoto was okay and alive and safe. Unless they made a separate tweet for someone else. Alright, Wolfstrike, I know you're concerned about seeing Chris Pratt's nipples in the Mario movie, but he is really just doing a voice. It's an animated movie. So what you should be afraid of is seeing an animated Mario's nipples. That's more likely. Possibly. Some early playdates have an issue where they're completely unresponsible for up to an hour due to shipping uncharged. Ooh. Well, I'm in Group 2. Maybe they'll have all the kinks worked out. Nah, I honestly think the Mario movie will be fine. It's gonna be a movie. There's a lot of... I was kind of hoping they would show off a trailer around E3 time so that we would know something. But now that it's been moved off into spring, or did they say spring or just 2023? Who knows? Maybe they won't show us a trailer until fall. I don't know how much time a movie needs PR space for. What am I enjoying for an anime? I've mostly just been watching stuff I've already seen, or that's continuing, so Demon Girl Next Door, or is it My Neighbor the Demon Girl or whatever. This is a magical girl comedy thing. It's very cute. I think season 2 is right now. And what's the other reason? There's like a season 3 of Kaguya, the two high school students who refuse to admit to each other that they like each other, so they're trying to force each other to admit, to confess. It's still pretty fun. But I haven't really been watching a lot of anime lately. I've been doing... I'm more focused on video games, so like I've been playing through Super Metroid, and I've just gotten the gravity suit, I think. Where have I gone? I've made it through the wrecked ship, and now I'm in Maridia or something. There's a lot of sand pouring around everywhere. Right, I had to take a break last night because I was trying to grappling hook this area with Metroids that are flying around, and my hands were cramping up from missing the tiny grappling hook thing. But it's been pretty interesting so far. I had an instance where I fell into an area where some of the jumping animals are, and I then had to look up how to wall jump to get out. And I will say I do not like wall jumping in Super Metroid. I know it's not necessary, unless you do what I did. Because I also saved down there. Like a person who doesn't know what's happening. So I couldn't just back out. And before that, I was playing the Danganronpa Another Episode game, which I wouldn't recommend. I enjoyed some of it, but I really wouldn't recommend it for a variety of reasons. A variety of rated M reasons. You've been replaying. Amelia's been replaying Final Fantasy VI. Nice. Very good. What do you think about potatoes? Potatoes are gross, okay? The only good potatoes that exist are scalloped potatoes. And that's it. Well, maybe the potatoes inside of pierogies. But all the other potatoes are awful. I don't include French fries. They're not potatoes. They're fried pieces of mush. Oh, I suppose hash browns are technically potatoes, aren't they? Okay, fine. Hash browns are also acceptable. But that's it. Those are the only ones. You don't like potatoes unless you do. Yes, that's how I live my life. I don't like things unless I do. All of them. In fact, I hate everything unless I like them. It's just how the world works. See, poutine's not potatoes. Poutine is gravy and cheese and some sort of mystery mashed thing below it. Not a potato.
No, Heather, save yourself. No poutine discourse. Run, run! I can hear the French Canadians coming.
I don't know, chat, tell me some things you like, and I'll tell you how much I don't like them. How about we do that? Won't that be a fun game?
Yes, yes, Heather.
I don't know, I feel like I'm just choosing violence right now. Let's go for it. What do you like that I can hate? Cherry Coke? Awesome. I used to like it, but now I hate it forever. Pizza? Pizza is the grossest thing in the world. It's full of cheese sweat, and I don't understand why any of you are eating it. Coffee? Coffee's always been gross. Just disgusting. A boiled bean water soup. Donuts? They don't even supply... They take a hole out of the middle of it. Subpar. Minecraft? That's not something someone said they liked, but I saw the word for it, and it's just a bunch of blocks. We all have Lego already. We don't need a digital playground of things. Yeah, Cameron just said Minecraft's is for people who can't afford Lego. So there you go. And I agree with him. Hey, Paul.
Hey!
Thank you for coming back.
Sorry about that. Are we bad mouthing Minecraft? Is that what we're doing now?
I'm bad mouthing everything chat loves.
Oh. This is what happens when I leave.
I ran out of things to talk about very quickly.
Hey everybody. So, did you talk about any of the other stories or
Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I kind of brought up the fact that the Mario movie's been delayed, but I didn't super talk about it.
I mean, that story is this is Miyamoto. The Mario movie has been delayed, and yeah, people clowning on the like this is Miyamoto bit, where they're like, "Is that all?" I like the idea that it's like that's all. It's like, well, people wouldn't lie on Twitter. Like you can't say this is Miyamoto if you're not Miyamoto.
I mean, the "This is Miyamoto" is a very good memeable sentence, right? But I really like the part where he's like, I have talked to my friend, Chris San over at this studio, and we've
Right, Illumination.
it's just like a really weird.
It's like I feel like it wasn't. It probably wasn't like a decision that the two of them made. Like it was probably like a larger decision. But yeah. After Image is a game. So I'm a little.
You're a little suspect on this one too.
Yeah, I feel a little bit apprehensive about this. Like it's looks super cool.
It looks very pretty.
And it's a they just were running a Kickstarter. And it 600% funded, which is great. Except 600% funded is $92,000. Like they were asking for $15,000.
Which, given the amount of stuff that they said that they were going to put in the game before, like the unlock stuff, it's not enough to make a video game.
And now, and because it's like 600% funded, and they had stretch goals and stuff, they're being like extra boss rush, extra areas,
An extra heroine,
more cutscenes,
dubbing,
more weapons, new game plus, new playable. It's like
extra ending, because it already had multiple endings as its thing. Something like 40 tracks of music.
and it's just like I don't see how this
A
is.
bunch of various. Was it like 25 to 40 hours for your first playthrough?
Yeah, like I just don't see. It just does not seem like enough money.
It sounds like the amount you put down as in a very generous way. It's either like we only, because they apparently, I think this game had a demo on Steam already, so we just need this much more to finish it.
I guess
Maybe?
so. Yeah.
Or
Like it's more of like a
it's more of
pre-order?
like a pre-order.
Yeah.
Or we're hoping to show that enough people want this that we can prove that to people
And they
who
get,
can
like,
give
other
us funding.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It just, like, I think they're probably going to make it. It just the amount they're asking for, it does not feel like we're putting up the amount that we think, especially coming to multiple consoles.
Yeah. So maybe they're getting their funding mostly from somewhere else, and this is just sort of more of a promotional thing than an actual like money making thing.
It looks really pretty. I want to see it come out because I kind of want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have put in for the Kickstarter on it given that price point.
Yeah. Dead by Daylight.
Oh no, the Deadlight.
The
Now we're dead.
asymmetrical horror multiplayer game.
Is this a zombie game or is this just like a? Because I always forget. with all of the horror
No,
games? that keep
this is
happening?
like where it's like one player plays the killer, and then like
Right,
four
okay,
player,
yeah.
or then like some other people play the survivors and stuff. Um, they pushed out an update, or they're going to be pushing out an update, the 11th tome in its Archives Devotion series, where they're releasing more lore for some of the characters. And one of the characters, David King, who is like one of the survivor people who you can play,
Okay.
they're going to be revealing as their first LGBTQ character. He's gay, I believe. Is how they're.
I mean, the way the article put it about him, it sounded like he's gonna be gay.
Yeah,
Is where they're going with it.
yeah. They're very careful to be saying LGBTQ the whole time, but it sounds like it's basically because there's certain they're going to be there's like flashbacks for characters that because I guess they've sort of got transported to this place where they're having to be
Right. So they're adding a
Okay.
backstory.
So they're adding some backstory to people, and so you find out in this guy's backstory that he had a romantic relationship with his boyfriend and stuff. And it's like, this is one of those like, yay for representation, but also, these are people who are presumably about to be horribly murdered. Which is less good, but I mean, I guess it's equal opportunity for people to have horrible things happen to them. But like, what about the bad guys? What about the hag, or what are the
I don't know. When people are brutally running around trying to murder each other, the last thing I tend to ask them about is their sexual preferences.
yeah? Well,
I don't even ask people about that in regular life. Never mind the I've been transported to a horror land.
Yeah. It's like maybe we'll deal. Maybe we'll have time for some sort of relationships after we survive this monster trying to destroy us.
It's just, if you're going to come at me with like an axe or something, the last thing on my mind is, boy, I hope that you've got...
It's like, sure, you're killing me, but it's
I don't
nice
know.
to know that, yeah.
I'm glad that I'm being murdered by...
Yeah, by
representation?
somebody
I
who
don't know.
understands struggle. It's
It's fine. It's great. It's
positive, and apparently there's been some like backlash in the community and stuff, but obviously that's because I mean, it's one of the cool things, I guess. It's nice that it's like, this is an existing character, like this is a character who's been in the game for a long time. We just didn't have any background story on the person, so it's not like
Weren't they working with a group?
added a new,
on
and they're
this
working
too?
with Gamer X, which is to ensure that the story is, or to ensure that it's doesn't have,
So the themes that they're introducing
yeah,
are...
because I mean, obviously the history of marginalized people in horror genres has not been
Well, yeah,
positive.
generally they're the first to go.
So
In the horror movies anyway, from what I understand. It's a trope for a reason.
but so anyway, I don't anticipate that this will actually have any bearing on the game itself, obviously, because that's not
Well, I
something that
mean,
happens in the, like,
it's
it's not a
not-
relationship game.
I just was more surprised the game had story content.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those games that kind of, I think the story has been sort of filtered in over the time that the game has been in production. So anyway, just thought that was interesting that they wanted to do that.
Okay, I did not read this story. What?
So in the continuing, there's or not a trend for anti-cheat systems and games that want to deal with cheaters to, I guess, for creativity or for doing more than just blocking or banning or kicking somebody. There's cool stuff like I remember Final Fantasy 11 had a thing where the admins could actually like literally transport you to like a dungeon, transport your character to a dungeon, and like if you logged out and logged back in, you still were there. You know, was it Max Payne had a thing where if you were identified as a cheater, you got shunted over to a like basically cheaters only server. So that like all the people you were playing against were also cheaters. Anyway, Call of Duty is going to starting in Vanguard, Call of Duty Vanguard, is they are going to implement a system which goes along with implement a system called
cloaking.
Yes, cloaking.
Yeah.
Which goes along with something called damage shield, where basically if somebody's identified as being a cheater, they'll start getting less information. So it starts either they won't be able to see bullets, like where bullets are coming from. They won't be able to see other players.
Okay.
They won't be able to see like pickups and stuff. Like they won't be able to like see what's going on in the game
Outside of, I'm assuming, like the environment.
Yeah.
But like all of the other pieces will be invisible to you. And honestly seems fine.
And so
it's kind of like
they'll be, so it's like they're saying if you see a player spinning in circles and yelling "who's shooting at me," that guy was probably cheating. So what's interesting about this though is that one of the reasons why they're doing this is they basically, it's like in like crime movies when they have like when like a hostage thing, the hostage taker's like phone, and it'll like keep him talking, keep him on the line so we can trace the call.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of like what this is, where it's actually apparently useful, like rather than just kicking the person, it's actually useful to, after they've identified the person as a cheater, to have them continue. They can keep recording data about the person's setup and what cheats they're using.
This is to try to.
And so by making it so they're not immediately kicked out, so they actually like stay in the game but are unable to actually do anything. It allows them to have a longer time to collect data about that person, and about what cheats they're using and how the cheats work and stuff, so that they can then apply that.
How much extra time you do get though, because I assume if you're just kind of running around in circles and you can't see anybody,
I mean, presumably, yeah,
they're going to hurt you. And then I assume once you die, you leave the game and have to come back in.
Yeah, although, like, I don't know. I mean, if you're, depending on the kind of game, like, I've definitely, in the very, very small amount of time that I've played games like, PUBG, I could have sworn this was being applied to me because I got shot and I had no idea who had shot. I couldn't see anybody.
I mean, there is the legitimate, I'm not sure where people are shooting from. Most of the time when I've seen cheats happen, it's been in something like Fall Guys, where you see a person just hovering around and doing something very obvious.
Very obvious, yeah.
I don't
Whereas
know.
in this case, this is more like people using aimbots or different things like that. But this article on Ars Technica about also they go into talking about a few other games, or talking about the Final Fantasy 11 thing and different things, which I hadn't heard about, which I love. I think we actually did this one mentioned this on CheckPoint, but the Pokemon Go one, that they found that you're messing with your like people were messing with their like GPS coordinates and pretending they were at different places so they could pick up Pokemon. Pokemon Go has an anti-cheat thing where you'll just start getting only like really common Pokemon, and so you won't get any of the good Pokemon that you're actually looking for. But the one I like the best is an interesting idea that what League of Legends did is they had a special event where they invited they did a 2-hour live stream where they actually let a bunch of cheaters and back into the game to fight against the developers who were also cheating.
Well, okay. I mean, if everybody's gonna do it, and I suppose that's
kind of like it's almost like the like Roman Colosseum method. It's like, let's make a spectacle out of it.
I suppose if it works. I mean, the only things I have against anti-cheating software is if it's inflicting with people who have special programs set up so that they can play video games if they have any disabilities.
Well, it's when anti-cheating software, especially when it's applied sort of indiscriminately to like when people are playing single player as well or like offline.
Yeah.
That can be super frustrating. And also, of course, depending on how serious they are, you can in order to actually do the kinds of things that you need to do in terms of for anti-cheating, you have to be kind of invasive on the computer.
Yeah, I've heard stories about that. I don't play a lot of
root
online
kits and so forth.
multiplayer shooters and stuff that tend to have that kind of, we want root access to your computer so we can make sure you're not cheating.
Right. And I think
Is that we all? I know there wasn't like a lot this week.
Yeah. Oh, there's this. This is just a small thing that I love though. So Apex Legends is revealing a new character for the next season. Season 12 of Apex Legends is coming, and they're revealing a new character. A new defensive character called Newcastle.
Okay.
Which you could sort of, it's like he's a defensive guy, big guy, castle. You can kind of see, all the like,
Is there an
whatever,
old castle? Is that why we call him Newcastle?
Yeah. Maybe there's like he's like replacing the previous castle. I don't know. But, you get the names like, Brick and whatever. Wall chunk, I don't know, defensive guy names Newcastle, but Newcastle in particular. Now I haven't seen anything about the character, and I doubt this is the case. But if he's called Newcastle, I really wish he would have a Newcastle accent. Which, if you're familiar with English accents. Also, sometimes it's like I believe it's also referred to as like a Geordie accent. So as it's like a northern English accent. Very distinctive, very thick accent that would be very funny to have all the voice lines in a video game of.
I mean...
I feel like underrepresented.
Oh, definitely.
In
a lot of accents are underrepresented.
So I'm just saying, give Newcastle a Newcastle accent.
That would suggest he's named Newcastle because it's like that's where he's from.
Yeah, I like that. I'm pretty sure it's not true, but it should be. Anyway, if it, I won't, I can't actually do a Newcastle accent, but look it up on YouTube. You will.
Find someone who actually has one.
Yes.
Uh,
And yeah, I think that is all.
that's all we have in the document.
All the stuff I have in the document. I don't know if there was anything else that happened yesterday or something, but
I mean, probably. There's probably something. But
man, if we didn't
I don't-
hear about
I
it,
don't
then it can't have been
remember
that important.
anything particularly that stands out. But then again, all I can think about is Kirby now. So
Oh yeah, how's Kirby going?
Kirby is full of fire and sleeps.
Full
Kirby is great.
full of fire and sleeps.
Yeah, I really like nap time Kirby, even though it's not really a fighting type. It's just, he gets very sleepy and then he falls over and he takes a tiny nap, and then when he's done, he takes his sleep hat off and puts it in his pocket that he doesn't have, so his skin pocket, I guess. He also has a bed that he sleeps on.
Probably best not to like think about where he puts it. That
It's best not to think too hard about what Kirby does
yeah.
at all, in a lot of respects. It's just better that way. Just look at the Kirby, think it's cute,
Yeah,
and
just-
don't get in the way when it's hungry.
Yeah, just let Kirby be. Don't analyze it too much. Yeah. So that's what we got. Let's check out what's coming up, because we got Friday Night Paper Fight coming up in just over in a little under 2 hours. We're going to be doing new Capenna draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's the new set, and it's coming out this week. So yeah, we just we got the new Capenna stuff. Should be super sweet. 6 players, and then on Saturday, the aforementioned Kirby.
We have a busy Saturday, actually.
Yeah, this weekend is like super. Yeah, we got because then Corey is going to be doing the Can't Draw Horses Club with Nick. Oh, what's his last name?
I always I know the sound of it, but my brain refuses to tell me how it's pronounced. But yeah, Nick is cool. Come watch Can't Draw Horses Club.
Yeah.
And then
Loading Ray Live. Loading Ray Live on is happening tomorrow, and then it's more Kirby on Sunday,
Kirby.
and then it's Rhythm Cafe.
Not Kirby.
Unless Heather wants to just keep playing Kirby.
I mean,
There's definitely like at least one Kirby
I do
rhythm
have
game, isn't
a
there?
lot of like in all of lore of Kirby, or in this game.
In all of lore of Kirby.
I don't know.
I could swear that I remember him like doing a little. I remember like a game that is like a Kirby rhythm game, but maybe I'm just thinking of like a bit from another game.
I know they'll put Kirby music in some stuff, but
Or maybe just like a mini game and something else. But anyway.
I could see that.
And then on Sunday, is this your card? It's
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
back to card games.
Yeah. I believe this is the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, because apparently there are a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Games.
More than you'd think.
And I recall that Wheeler got quite frustrated with the previous Yu-Gi-Oh! Game he was playing, but this is new Yu-Gi-Oh!
So, what season of Yu-Gi-Oh! It is based on, you'll have to find out
Mhm.
by going and watching. I personally hope it's the school one where they start to mash the character designs into new people.
And then on Monday, more Cantrell Horses Club,
And it's normal time slot.
followed by Crossing the Streams, where
Do we know what they're playing? They're still figuring that out, aren't they?
right, yes. So, stuff.
Check the schedule over at loadingreadyrun.com/live for more details.
Yeah. Let's thank people who subscribed during this stream. People like Bronze Finger for 96 months. Ooh.
Morton Solis sings for 45 months.
And Mr. Virte for
Heron
32 months.
Heron Blade Master 62 months.
Yay.
Do 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 do. There
There
we go. We have thanked all of you. Thank you all for showing up.
Thank you all for showing up. Thanks for joining us. And I hope to see y'all later. Bye.
Stay tuned for magic.